you not working? Why are you not working? Okay, well, we're gonna start from the top. Megavaden, everybody. Let's try this again. And welcome to another stream. You may be wondering why I'm in PNG form today. Well, that's because I only have one webcam, and said webcam is going to be used for, you guessed it, reading. So you all can see my book as I read it. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that today, which is why I will be in PNG form, because I don't have two webcams. Yeah, we're going to be doing that today, but don't worry, the 2D VTuber form will be back tomorrow for our collab with Cybertails, my awesome VTuber mama. So look forward to that. But yeah, we're going to be doing that today, and I'm excited to get this every other week series going because I really enjoyed last time I read on stream, and we're just going to see how this goes. I feel like this might be something unique that I can do that I might enjoy, and you might all enjoy too. And also, it's also good to read, which a lot of people don't do that much anymore, myself included, so kind of integrating that into streaming space should be fun. So today, for those of you that didn't see my announcement, also hello to Mist and Alpha, by the way, and thank you for the happy birthday, Alpha. I appreciate it. 5-stream streak, let's go. But yeah, so for those of you that didn't see my announcement, we're going to be mostly reading Encyclopedia Eorzea today, and for the next few Ranger readings that we do, because I really want to finish this book, and learn more about the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. And someday, hopefully, we can also get the other volumes too. But we will be starting today with something in honor of my birthday, which we'll be reading a chapter from the Bible, from the book of the Bible that I am named after. So yes, which that is a little deep dive into this channel's history right there. But yes, for those of you who don't know, the origin of Elurin, my name, is Tolkien's Elvish translation of my IRL name, which I've never really kept that hidden. So in my IRL name, which is so funny how the translation works, by the way, different languages go burr. But for Tolkien's Elvish, it's only 4 letters, which is Elurin, but in my actual name, it's Zechariah, which is a way longer name. But they are the exact same name, just in different languages, one of which is a made-up language, but, you know, J.R. Tolkien for the win. But yeah, so obviously, as those of you know, I don't really make it a focus of the channel because I never really wanted to, but I also don't keep it hidden either. But I am a Christian in real life, and because of that, and because I grew up as a Christian with a Christian upbringing, and my parents were Christian, they named me after the Zechariah book in the Bible. And as such, in honor of my birthday, I will be reading the chapter around my favorite section of scripture in the book of Zechariah. We're going to start with that, and then the rest of the stream we will be reading Encyclopedia Eorzea. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And you get to see my great reading skills, everybody. It should be entertaining. But without further ado, let's make sure the webcam is working and then get started. Megavaden, everybody. Oh, we're a little angled. How did that happen? Let's see if we can reposition this a bit. There we go. Okay, you can also see my beautiful Cirrus font I'm at, because I have bought Hololive merch before. Big reveal, right? Okay, perfect. That's a good view of the desk. Hello, everybody. But yes, we're going to be doing the reading here. Let me just move my beautiful keyboard out of the way. And then we shall, don't mind that sound, we shall be moving the books over. So let me show you all. Also, I am wearing my under construction IRL Ranger cosplay with my Van braces, which I posted about in my Discord back in the summer that I got from a local Renaissance fair. Very comfortable. Very much enjoyed going there. It was a lot of fun. But we will be reading mostly this, the Encyclopedia Eorzea. We're going to be picking up where we left off on our last time we did it with Magical Ducky, which I don't know. Hopefully he can hop in at some point in the stream, because it would be nice to have him, but I didn't really ask him specifically. because I just wanted to get this started every other week, and I think it will be fun. But like I said, we are going to start with the good old Bible. And we will be using my 1599 Geneva Bible that I have. I got from my grandfather, I think, like back when I was in high school. This is like probably my favorite edition of the Bible because I am a history nerd. And I just like old stuff. I don't know how else to word that, but yeah. So we're going to be using the good old style today. It's going to be fun. Man, this is going to be fun. All right, so my favorite section of the book of the Bible I was named after is Why did I say Genesis? I love Genesis, though. Great book. But my favorite chapter and verse of the book of Zechariah was always chapter 8, verses 16 through 17. But I figured, why not? Instead of just reading that, why not just read the whole chapter? Now, for those of you who are not, haven't grown up as Christians like myself, the book of Zechariah and the Bible pretty much is a book of prophecy, pretty much predicting the future of Israel and just the entire world. Yeah, it's also what my parents named me after, so it's always been a favorite book because of that, obviously. But we're going to be jumping in and just reading the chapter, and I might do some commentary as I read here, which I'll probably also be doing for Encyclopedia Eorzea a lot as well. And obviously people are welcome to input whenever, and we're just going to have fun doing this, and hopefully I can actually properly read. Also, this is going to be probably the biggest challenge because this is also slightly modernized Old English because Geneva Bible, which is older than King James, so this will be fun for me. But yeah, without further ado, here we go. So Zechariah chapter 8. Again the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, Thus said the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great wrath. If there's one consistency in the Bible, by the way, it's God being mad at Israel, which is funny, because I feel like some modern Christians have forgotten that. But anyway, thus said the Lord, I will return unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus said the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for every age. And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Thus said the Lord of hosts, though it be impossible in the days of the remnant of this people in these days, should it therefore be impossible in my sight, said the Lord of hosts. Thus said the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will deliver my people from the east country, and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. Thus said the Lord of hosts, Let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. For before these days there was no hire for man, nor any hire for beast, neither was there any peace to him who went out or came in because of the affliction. For I set all men, everyone against his neighbor. But now I will not entreat the residue of this people, as aforetime saith the Lord of hosts. For the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their dew. And I will cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. And it shall come to pass, that as ye were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah, O house of Israel, so I will deliver you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. For thus says the Lord of hosts, as I thought to punish you, when your fathers provoked me unto wrath, said the Lord of hosts, and repented not. So, again, have I determined in these days to do well unto Jerusalem, and to the house of Judah. Fear ye not. Okay, now, we get to the part that's actually been always my favorite verse, or section of verses, which I actually had as, like, a motto during high school. I actually had, like, my sister make some cool artwork of this verse, too. I think I still have that somewhere, but anyway. So, these two verses right here. These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye Speak you every man the truth unto his neighbor. Execute judgment truly and uprightly in your gates. And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor. And love no false oath. For these are all things that I hate, says the Lord. Yes, that was like a personal like motto for me in high school right there. Like something I tried to live by, and I still try to live by. Um, and the word of the Lord of hosts came unto me, saying, thus says the Lord of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th, shall be to the house of Judah joy and gladness, and prosperous high feasts. Therefore love the truth at peace. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, that there shall yet come people, and the inhabitants of great cities, and they that dwell in one city shall go to another, saying, up, let us go and pray before the Lord, and seek the Lord of hosts. I will go also. Yea, great people and mighty nations shall come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem, and to pray before the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts, in those days shall 10 men take hold out of all languages of the nations, even take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, and say, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. All right, so that is Zechariah chapter 8. Again, the book of the Bible I was named after. And yeah, technically without this book, Elurin wouldn't even exist. So, and again, verses 16 through 17 have been and still will be like continuing to be like a life motto for myself. So, yes. But on that note, after opening with the amazing Word of God, we will now begin to read the main course, which is going to be even more fun for me and fun for you guys. Hopefully you all have a good view here, which is Encyclopedia Eorzea, which I forgot I had bookmarked with some old Game Fuel merch. I miss that stuff, man. Mountain Dew needs to bring that back. But yeah, Encyclopedia Eorzea, Volume 1. Oh man, I gotta make sure this is centered on the camera. Hopefully that works. Okay, you can see the artwork, so that should be good. Okay, so last time we left off, we were going through the astral eras of Final Fantasy lore, and let me just go back one. Oh yeah, so the last time we went over the 6th astral era, I think that's where we ended. This was like, how long ago did I read this on stream? That was so long ago, man. Oh man. It was on a subathon, I think like maybe 3 years ago, maybe? It's been a minute. But yeah. All right, well, the 6th astral era, prosperity and oh, actually, yeah, the last 2 astral eras I think were just a mess, right? Yes, because the 5th astral era was just a lot of magical countries both fighting each other, summoning things that shouldn't be summoned, and just causing a giant mess of the entire planet. And then the 6th astral era was very short, but it was pretty much just was this the one where the whole world is like flooded? Total Torrens, Futron, Castorazos. Yeah, no, this is like the right. Yeah, no, the 6th astral era is just the flood from the Bible. I forgot about that with the ark and everything. Yep. All right. So, wait, no. Yeah, no, that's the start of the 6th Umbral era. And then we have the aftermath of the giant flood, which is the prosperity and progress of the 6th astral era. Overcoming calamities of each of the 6 basic elements. The people of the 6th astral era believed that the worst was behind them, and that the consequent era would foretell everlasting prosperity. We now know that this was but a false hope, and that a 7th period of destruction awaited them almost 16 centuries hence. This still, however, begins the question. If the 6 basic elements were accounted for, why then did a 7th calamity arise? To find the answer, one must travel back to the dawn of the 6th astral era, where man began his journey anew. Oh, wait. Oh. Wait. Wait, no. Wait. Wait, no. Hold on. Now I'm confused. Hold on. I'm gonna reread this first part on the previous page because I feel like it's kind of essential to me properly understanding this period of Final Fantasy history. Okay, hold on. Sixth Umbral Era, the Calamity of Water. As both scholar and seer scried, the realm's elemental imbalance culminated in a far-reaching flood that eventually swept over Eorzea, and with the Calamity of Water did the Fifth Astral Era come to a close. Okay, that was the end of the Fifth Astral Era. Oh. Ooh, okay. Coastal towns were pummeled by tidal waves, while rivers overflowed their banks, swallowing settlements and leaving inarable soils in their wake. The great city of Miak was swallowed whole by a torrent the likes of which the realm had heretofore never experienced. The few remained drowned as they cast their eyes in hopes heavensward, content in the belief that the Ark would see the glory of their people endure. Oh yeah, the Ark is this Ark, right? Which you do a whole raid chain in Heavensward. Right. Okay. Those who had the sense to retreat to higher ground would return to the FM to learn they were the inheritors, I can read, to a wasteland of salt-clogged swamps where even the hardiest of weeds refused to take root, let alone crops with which one might sustain a family. Oof. Oof. The few remaining, and then they return to those swamps and they hear the voice of Shrek just be like, "What are you doing in my swamp?" No, I'm joking. The few remaining Nemean citizens who had not been touched by the Green Death evacuated north to the mountainous regions of Outer Lenoske as the Royal Marines commenced their ambitious Operation Maelstrom. While the Grand Company was successful in turning back the largest of swells, the mages were unable to prevent the scores of subsequent waves from pulverizing the coastal city-state. Lands reclaimed by the sea were reduced to rocky reefs, leaving nary a home to which Nim's few survivors might return. As most of their land's energies have been exhausted in the efforts to seal Diablos, there is little remaining for Amdapor's white mages to draw upon to stay the waters which had already enveloped the territories held by Nim and Miak. The alternative was a hurried exodus into the highlands of Girobania before the deluge reached the ancient city. The region abandoned, the elementals, who had quietly borne witness to Amapori's people's rapturous consumption of the land's ether, saw to it that the city's remnants be devoured in thick, sorcerous brush not long after the waters receded, therefore preventing ingress into Andapor. Thus did the ruins remain hidden from mortal eyes until the elemental's glamours were dispelled during the seventh calamity, yes, which is in the actual game's story. It could be said that the greatest of Eorzea's magical civilizations succumbed to a chaos of their own contriving, yet it would be misguided to conclude that the entirety of mankind was beyond redemption for the sins of a few. Amidst the strife of the calamity and the subsequent Sixth Umbral Era, legends have long told of the advent of a band of saviors known as the 12 Archons. Gee, I wonder who they are. Who'll help to warn the people of impending doom and provide salvation to countless scores in their time of need. Without champions such as these, the path to the Sixth Astral Area may have been longer and more fraught with peril than it actually was. Wait, were the signs of the Seventh Dawn around back then? Or were they different? Questions. The Sixth Astral Era, prosperity and progress. All right, so I read this first paragraph. So now we're going to go here. The Age of Restoration, years 1 through 400. Scars left by the Sixth Astral Era ran deep, instilling much despair into the hearts of the realm's few survivors. Fearing that its continued use might further their woes, the art of magic was widely forbidden. Libraries housing ancient tomes were put to flame, while those who practiced, or were rumored to practice, the art of spellcraft were hunted down and tried as criminals. Many a learned man met the same demise, as the masses had become so incensed they could no longer distinguish the difference between science and sorcery. With the majority of the greatest minds lost, the few remaining nations of the Fifth Astral Era crumbled and vanished, their peoples scattering about the realm to lay claim to what little resources remained. Driven by primal urge to survive, tribes and clans band together into small communities and began a century-long journey to rebuild their broken lives. The picture here between the destruction wrought by the War of Magi and by the calamity of Waterloo remained of the Fifth Astral Era city-states. Those who survived the chaos abandoned the shells of their once magnificent nations, choosing instead to establish small hamlets. Dang. It's almost complete destruction there. The Age of Communion. Years 400 through 1000. 400 years removed from the Great Deluge, Eorzea's population finally began to experience a resurgence. Immigrants from islands beyond the Blood-Brine Sea, as well as the eastern continents of Othard and Ilsabard, arrived in Alenard in droves. 3 great migratory waves of here also inflicted irreversible change on Eorzea's population distribution. Racial tension reached its peak at this time, with individual races seen gravitating to certain city-states to escape persecution. The Elizan to Ishgard in the highlands of Korthus, the Lalafell to Baladia in the deserts of Thanalan, and the Rogadin to Limsalaminsa on the Isle of Vilbrand. However, this was not without its problems. It was only a matter of years before infighting amongst the Lalafellian royalty of Beldia resulted in the nation's fall and its verification into 2 city-states, Ul'dah and Silda. Yep. Good old Lalafells, always creating chaos. Some things never change. Man. That's not to say, however, that the period was devoid of racial harmony. Their banishment from the Black Shroud by the spirits of the forest worked towards strengthening the bonds between the Hur and Elizan living in the Black Shroud, ultimately leading to their joint establishment of the underground city of Galmora. I always forget that Amnapor was around before Galmora. Huh. Ruins of Beldia. Oh, that's what this picture is. The sons of Machi mages sought to escape persecution through the founding of Beldia. As a result, the forbidden black magics of their forebears did not die out. They were instead cleverly integrated into the worship of the sun goddess. Oh, Azima? I hope I'm saying that right. I just remember her from the freaking Endwalker Alliance raids. Man. Ishgard. Oh, this must be an early image of Ishgard. Actually, is that the bridge? I think that's the freaking bridge. Ishgardian scripture teaches that King Thordan answered the call of Halone to lead his people to the promised land in Korthus 1,000 years past, which would place this area's settlement around the latter half of the 6th century. This, however, has since been proven by historians to be erroneous, as newly unearthed evidence states the Elizan's arrival in Korthus at least 200 years earlier. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Wow. Oh, yeah, you can't see the image of... trying to get an angle on this. This is the image of the Beldia place with the Lalafell's flood, which I'm pretty sure that's also the ancient city you see in the what is it called? The not Criterion variant dungeon for Ul'dah, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is. Okay, Age of Strife, years 1000 to 1300. For the next several hundred years, the city-states exhibited steady progress as they continued to grow and gain power. When they sought to expand their claim on surrounding lands, however, new complications arose. Territorial feuds betwixt neighbors led to heightened tensions in the outlands. Indigenous beast tribes, such as the kobolds and the Ixal, infuriated with those who they perceived as invaders, began to rise in defiance, despoiling the land in protest. Unable to put aside their differences, Ul'dah and Silda waged a petty war until neither side could remember why it was they fought at all. Yeah, which is still going on in the game when you start playing as well, by the way. As bloody battles broke out across the realm, the balance of power began to shift once more. Rivers ran with blood, while coin flowed from the hands of the ambitious into the pockets of mercenaries and sellswords. Ul'dah emerged as rulers of Thanalan after finally conquering their sister city-state and reducing it to rubble. The warring tribes of Giralbania were at long last brought together by Highland Hurclan and joined to form the city-state of Alamigo. Advancements in shipbuilding techniques strengthened Limsalamince's dominion over the seas, while increased dealings with the lands beyond the Eorzea transformed the maritime city-state into a wealthy melting pot of cultures. After many long years of developing the art, the people of Gamora finally succeeded in using conjuring to achieve communion with the spirits of the Black Shroud, and convinced the elementals to grant them residence in the forest. It is also at this time that the spirits, angered by the violent actions of the Ixal, sent the tribe into exile beyond the Black Shroud's protective barrier, the Hedge. Free to emerge from their underground refuge and rid of the troublesome Ixal, the people of Gamora established a new city-state, Grenania. Yep. That's where Grenania comes in. Not all residents of Gamora chose to leave the caves in which their people had resided for centuries, expressing distrust toward the elementals who had driven them underground in the first place. Those few Elysin who refused to leave the city would in time become known as the Duskwights. Yes. Or the Dark Elves of the game. Yep. The Age of Stability, years 1300 through 1500. Weary of fighting, the people of Eorzea sought to mend bonds that had grown torn and frayed over the centuries. Aggressive tactics were abandoned for diplomacy, and inner-city state commerce was restored. As technology and culture were shared, the nations experienced a prosperity unseen since the Fifth Astral Era. The city-states of Limsalamince, Grenania, Ul'dah, Ishgard, Alamigo, and Sharlayan matured and became the focal points of Eorzean civilization. Peace, for once, finally prevailed in the land. However, the opening of these doors eventually led to the closing of others. Fearing their livelihood would be lost or altered by the influx of new people and ideas, independent craftsmen and warriors alike began banding together to preserve their trades. They formed guilds not only to safeguard their knowledge, but to provide themselves with the wherewithal to form business partnerships, which would help assure their financial stability. Unfortunately, where man treads, peace is never long to last. In an attempt to expand their influence in the Black Shroud, Alamigo exploited the realm's illusion of security by launching a series of large-scale campaigns into Tinoqua, which eventually led to the onslaught of the Autumn War? Or onset of the Autumn War. I'm trying to remember. Oh. Okay. Yeah. That was when Alamigo was trying to conquer Gridania. Okay. Yep. The Sharlayans who traversed south and east into the northern wastes to settle in Eorzea brought with them a wealth of knowledge long lost, seeking to resuscitate the wisdom of the ancients and re-enlighten the Dark Realm. The scholars were tireless in their efforts. For example, it was through their intervention that Eorzeans were once again able to harness the teleportive properties of aetherites, the construction of the Ethernet being part of this legacy. I forgot. Does this tell me when Sharlayan was settled? Because I feel like Sharlayan just kind of escaped a lot of the destruction of previous eras. I don't remember if that was mentioned earlier or not. Huh. I don't remember. I do not remember if Sharlayan has been mentioned before this. Misa confused. Yeah, I don't remember if Charlene had ever been mentioned before, but hail, noble lane. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I can read unless it's my own chat, apparently. Hail, noble Ranger Elurin, warden of the wild bounds. Long hast thou kept watch over glen and shadow. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Where few dare tread, may the stars mark thy path. The winds bear thy purpose, and the green realm ever know thy steadfast guard. When next we gather round the fire's glow, may our tongues weave tales of thy ventures, and our laughter rise with the crackling flames. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I hope that your adventures take you well into the woods and beyond, and that you may slay anything that stands against you, and any peace you cease to any peace you seek to bring to anyone you meet. Yes, that's what I was trying to say, but brain failed me. Anyway. But yes, welcome to the chat. Tomahawk always coming in with a freaking banger. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing amazing. We're over here starting a new series, as you can see. We are reading Encyclopedia Eorzea, which I read on a subathon years back. I started reading it, and we never finished. So we're starting it again. And we're already a good way into reading into the 6th astral area of Final Fantasy XIV lore and history, which is quite exciting. And yeah, we're just going to keep doing this. Also, I think my webcam got crooked again. Oh. Ah. Oh no, the webcam is failing me. Hold on. Also, check out these cool vamp braces. They're sick. I love them. Always check out your local Renaissance fair, folks. Renaissance fairs are great. Unlike webcams that are very fickle, apparently. Come on. You were working before, why are you not working now? Oh. No, don't go there. Ah! Shaky webcam moment, don't mind me, chat. Technical difficulties. You know what, for the future, I should just, like, tape this when I have it up here. The purpose of having it capture the... How did I do this before? Well, this is awkward. Hold on, chat. Earthquake, right? Also, the zoom is, like, all messed up now. Refocus, webcam. No? Okay, you don't want to refocus now. Okay. You know what? Maybe it wouldn't be for the... Because this book is so big. Oh, hey, it focused. Because this book is so big, maybe I will have it just hanging back a bit. Yeah, why not? Why not? That way you can see more of the book. And I don't have to have it so close to my screen. Actually, that works out. It looks a little weird, because now the webcam's more of at an angle, but hey, it works. Also, you can see more of me, too, I guess. Why not? Also, the duality of reading this on my series Fauna mat. Because I clearly have bought HoloLive merch before. I still need Koseki Biju merch, though. Gosh dang it. But anyway. Alright, anyway. Continuing on. So, we just read about the Age of Stability, which, as far as I remember, unless I am just completely forgetting something, I think is the first time that... I think that is the first time Charlene is ever mentioned in this. I don't remember. Yeah, anyway, we're just gonna continue on. So, the rise of Garlemald, years 1500 through 1560. What little magics the Grenadians perfected in the generations since their departure from Gelmora were no match for the sheer martial might of the Allegan forces, and it appeared the Sylvan city-state would quickly fall to her invaders. Oh dear. However, in a move most unexpected, the city-states of Ishgard, Ul'dah, and Limsa dispatched their armies to Grenadia's aid. Just as quickly as the Autumn War began, so it was resolved. Borders were set and treaties were signed. City-states would remain independent, but the rise of one would not be tolerated, and thus peace once again settled over the realm. Interesting. Outside Alenard, the flames of conquest began to rise. To the north, on the continent of Ilzabard, the Republic of Garlemald was overwhelming nearby nations with their iron war machina, seizing their land and consuming their cultures. In the year 1552, the leader of the Republic, Solus Galvus, declared Garlemald an empire and appointed himself emperor. Oh boy. The new imperial army, now swelling with the might of countless assimilated nations, methodically subjugated the eastern continent of Othard and the remaining lands of Ilzabard, welcoming those nations willingly to bow to imperial rule while erasing those which refused the Garlean standard. With the two of the three great continents now under its control, the Garlean Empire set sights on Alenard, and in the year 1557 sent the 14th Legion to conquer Alamigo in the first step to bring Eorzea's people under imperial rule, which, if I am not mistaken, is the beginning of original 1.0's story. If I am not mistaken. Also, this early Magitech armor prototype was developed by the Republic of Garlemald. Incapable of flight, its movements could best be described as insect-like. Yet the machina's fully independent mobility made it a formidable weapon in the Imperial arsenal. Very interesting. Next page. Oh boy. The root of consequence. Subsequent generations of historians will ever argue which underlying event was the true cataclysm that brought about the seventh umbral calamity. However, it would be remiss to form an opinion without first observing those events which transpired in the autumn of the sixth astral era, culminating in that fateful battle on the plains of Cartano. Yes, so this is all now, I believe, the events of 1.0's story of the game, if I'm not mistaken. So, let us begin. The Battle of Silvertear Skies. The fall of Alamigo did quick work in spurring the remaining free populations of Eorzea to action. The four city-states, Limsel, Minsa, Ulda, Gridania, and Ishgard, formed an alliance in the year 1561 to deter the Garlean Empire's advances into the region. The Sharlayan's however did not join this pact. The scholars' abhorrence of war compelled them to dispatch a special envoy to Garlemald shortly after Alamigo's surrender for the sole purpose of diplomatic proceedings. These efforts were in vain, as the Garleans refused to meet the envoy at the negotiating table. Failing to reach a political solution, the Forum decreed that the scholars would abandon the colony in the Dravinian hinterlands altogether and return to their homeland across the northern wastes. I still wish I remembered where Sharlayan was first mentioned. Because, like, I feel like it's existed before all of this, and I just don't remember where. Because everything mentioned about Sharlayan is, like, they've been around and they still had knowledge of the past, but I don't remember where Sharlayan was originally founded. I do not remember. Hmm. I'm just like skimming all this, trying to find any mention of Sharlayan. Hmm. I really thought it was mentioned somewhere, but maybe I am wrong. Also, I still love the art in this book. It's so good, dude. Uh, hmm. I must be confused. Huh. Maybe there was no mention of Char. How did Charlene get founded then? Huh. I guess there really just is no mention of Charlene's history. Huh. Well, interesting. And very disappointing. I wonder if later in the book I'll find something on that, because I do really want to know that when their city state was founded and how. But anyway, continuing on. Back to the subject at hand. The Battle of Silvertear Skies. The fall of Alamigo did quick work in spurring the... Okay, I already read that. Okay, yeah, so we read the Charlene part. Once Alamigo had been fully assimilated into the Empire, both politically and economically, the 14th Imperial Legion focused on hastening the progress of the Eorzea campaign. In 1562, the Imperial fleet, accompanied by the mighty flagship Aregius, forged its way into Mordona to Silvertear Falls. It was there that the Legion's armada encountered unexpected resistance, yet not at the hands of man, but of the worm Midgardsormr, forgotten guardian deity of the lake. The great dragon called out to his kin, who pitted themselves against the Garlean's fleet in an aerial battle of epic proportions. The battle ended when Midgardsormr and Agrius collided and plummeted to the land, compelling the Legion into a swift and complete retreat from Mordona. Not long after Midgardsormr's demise, something unexplained occurred. Eorzea's beast tribes began summoning their own gods, the primals, into the corporeal realm. Dubbed icons by the Garleans, who questioned their divine origins, these powerful creatures were deemed a threat to imperial rule and soon made a target for its armies. Yeah, we can thank the Asians for that. And there's art here of the flagship Argus under attack by a horde led by Midgardsormr. Oh, that's cool. Father of all dragons, the hollow corpse of the great worm remains in Silvertear Lake, perpetually entwined around the wreckage of the Garlean war vessel. Mm-hmm. Which you can see a cutscene of that in the game. It's so good. The 14th Legion Legatus Gaius von Belzar quickly observed the futility of engaging the icons in battle, as the vanquished gods were brought back time and again through the use of crystals and prayer. Moreover, there are increasing reports that the blessings of these primal beings were transforming men into fanatics who would turn on their own kind in the names of their new rulers. Without a proper military strategy to address the icon threat, Emperor Solus von Galvus would eventually order Belzar to suspend the Eorzea campaign. It was also at this time that, after 5 years of preparation, the Charlians would embark on their exodus from the Dravanian hinterlands back to Old Charlian. In the span of a single night, an entire population vanished from the realm. leaving the remaining Eorzeans to tackle the myriad problems that still faced Eorzea. Which I still wish I knew when Old Sharlayan was founded. Unless that was mentioned earlier in the book, but I just don't remember. Yeah, no. I don't think it is mentioned anywhere earlier in the book. I mean, that could also just be in one of the later volumes of Encyclopedia Eorzea. Because, honestly, they might have just put that in the Endwalker one. And gosh dang it. I will have to leave myself questioning that. Gosh dang it. Okay, anyway. The Age of Calm. The Holy See of Ishgard withdrew from the Eorzean Alliance in 1563. Wait. Hold on. Cross-referencing dates here. Okay, so that was after the Battle of Silvertear Skies. Interesting. So I wonder if them withdrawing was part of the original game then. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Unwilling to divert military power, used fighting the Thousand-Year Dragonsong War to efforts against the now idle Garlean Empire. Citing the Emperor's suspension? Yeah, citing the Empire's suspension of their Eorzea campaign followed the Battle of Silvertear Skies. With the invasion halted, Imperial forces stationed in Alamigo instead began the construction of Balzar's Wall between the newly annexed Girabanian territories and Gridania. Despite not knowing whether the wall was to serve as a means for the Empire to secretly prepare for a second invasion, or rather to simply quarantine a realm deemed plagued by false yet deadly beastmen gods, the Holy See concluded that the Garlean armies would not be mobilizing their forces anytime soon, and that the city-state's manpower would be better suited defending Ishgard against the recent rise of Nidhogg. Yeah, makes sense. With the succession of Garlemald's expansion, Eorzea entered a brief period of respite from the hostilities that had plagued the region for so long. Without an enemy to engage, the Eorzean alliance lasted but in name, as its armies were dissolved and its resources reallocated. While the threat of incursion had subsided, the countless scores of infantry who had, until recently, lived, ate, and breathed war were left without work and without cause. It was amidst this uncertainty that the Adventurers Guild was formed. Ah, so that's when it was formed. Makes sense. Providing steady employment for displaced soldiers, the guilds not only helped these folks and women reintegrate into society, but also provided the common folk with the means to complete tasks which had become too dangerous since the Imperial invasion and the rise of the Beast Tribes. The age of adventure was upon Eorzea. And this text at the bottom with the image that you can barely see. There, it's a little better. You can kind of make it out. Adventurers Guild branches quickly sprung up in all of Eorzea's city-states, most often in or outside places frequented by men and women looking for work, such as taverns or inns. These establishments transformed into more than simply places to wet one's throat or rest one's head. With the establishment of the guilds, they were transformed into bustling centers of exchange where adventurers could share information while undertaking any number of tasks, from securing delivery routes through perilous territory to the culling of beasts, raiding a farmer's livestock pens, or saving the whole galaxy from interdimensional threats. Oh wait, that's not a general issue. That's only our character's issue. A Circle of Knowing. In the year 1562, the venerable Louis Sois Livier quietly gathered 12 of his pupils in the Sharlayan motherland for an ambitious undertaking. They formed the Circle of Knowing, a group of esteemed researchers and scholars known as Archons, dedicated to a single mission, the salvation of Eorzea. Weary of war and displeased with the Forum's unwillingness to intervene, the Circle vowed to take matters into their own hands through more clandestine means, which now that I know the history of the previous... So hold on. Let me read what you just said. So I swapped Ranger for Elf in the greens. Wait, what? Wait, Elf. I'm confused. Wait, like the word Ranger for Elf? Because no, I am not an elf. I'm a human ranger that loves elves. So I'm a little I might be misunderstanding what you're saying though. I'm confused. I'm confused. Yeah? Okay. No, 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 no. Yeah, I'm a human ranger that loves elves. Um, yes. Lame? What do you mean lame? What? I had so many greeting ideas using them. I mean, if you want to greet Terumi, my 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 amazing companion in arms, the great beautiful wood elf named Terumi that is my companion, you could do that. The one that is right next to me. Actually, you know what? Why don't I have her on the other side? That would make more sense. Hold on. Realizing I could do something better with my UI. Hold on. Let's do this. There you go, Terumi. It's a little better for you. Hello. There we go. Terumi, say hi to everybody. Can be a little bigger for a second. Everyone say hello to Terumi. Still some of the earliest and best art I ever had made for the channel. Yes. Also, Terumi, the character I make in way too many of the games I play. Gosh dang it. I have a problem. Anyway. Let's shrink Terumi down back to guarding the corner of the screen. Where her arrows can protect us. Okay, cool. Alright. Back to the reading. Where was I? Oh yeah, here. Louis Swan knew that in order to dissuade the threat of a Gallian invasion, the Eorzean alliance would eventually have to bare its teeth. The sage dispatched his fellow archons to 3 city-states, hoping that they would be able to convince each of their respective leaders to reestablish the Grand Companies, consolidated centers of command, which would combine military, economic, and technological resources to prepare for forthcoming disaster. While a new concept to many of the 6th Astro era, this was not the first time entities of this nature had been introduced to Eorzea. 1,500 years prior, as the sun threatened to set on the 5th Astro area, these city-states called upon these self-same organizations to see to the evaluation of the realm beset with the rising waters of calamity. Wait, hold on. Oh. Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, see, this is again making me think that Charlian's been around through multiple of the eras. Kind of just by itself off in the corner of the map there. Oh no. Though reluctant at first, the leaders of the 6th Astro era were wise enough to see the benefits an alliance built upon the foundations of grand companies would provide their city-states. And thus they cast their bitter quarrels aside for the better of their realm. The Circle of Knowing's efforts had not been in vain, and over the course of the next several years, they would ultimately play a significant role in the shaping of Eorzea's history. Also, look at all the chocobos. You scared the ending sheep lover. Oh, you scarred? Scarred? That's scarred. What did you do, Angel? I wish to know. I wish to know of your deeds. Please enlighten me. Enlighten me. Also, say hello to book reading cam. And also my cool Vam braces. Look how cool they are. Find so many cool things at a Renaissance fair. Anyway, continuing. The primal threat. It took time, however, for the city-states to warm to the Circle of Knowing's pleas for unity. The realm had lost a common enemy when the Imperial Legion retreated back behind Balzar's wall, lessening the necessity of an all-encompassing alliance. City-states instead turned their focus inward to territorial disputes with the local beast tribes, disputes which had increased in frequency and severity since the Battle of Silvertear Skies. They needed to quickly and efficiently deal with the beastmen. Wait. The need to quickly and efficiently deal with the beastmen was reinforced by the fact that the tribes had begun summoning ethereal entities considered by the tribes to be deities from which their forebears claimed descent. These beings are widely known as primals, or first beings. Yeah, which is definitely a problem that we have to deal with at the beginning of the game. A 1564 report on the Mithril Eye, by the Mithril Eye, and the incident at... Oh, that's freaking, Ifrit. Okay, I didn't recognize that at first. Incident at Gina and Son's Mithril Pit T3, wherein the site was attacked by colossal fire-breathing beasts. This broadsheet is the first summoning of the primal Ifrit recorded in detail. Ooh, nice. And he's still like one of the lesser versions of Ifrit I've seen, especially compared to 16. Holy moly. I played Nazgul at the right time and scared him pretty bad. Beautiful, Angel. Beautiful. Is he still live? Is he... What's he streaming today? Is he doing his shopping mall again? I told him, by the way, Angel, that if he ever becomes a billionaire, he better make that shopping mall a reality. I need my sheep shopping mall. That would be the best content ever. Sheep streamer ending running a sheep shopping mall. Like, I can't imagine anything else more, like, absolute cinema level than that. I'm just saying. It would be absolutely beautiful. So don't mind me hydrating. We do need a sheep shopping mall? We do. Absolutely we do. And I believe Andang is the man destined to do it. One day. Copium. Anyway. A particularly alarming incident involving a primal rose in 1564 when Amalja from the plains of Pagathon summoned their god Ifrit in an effort to reclaim Zanrek, ancestral lands sacred to the tribe. As their god wreaked havoc on southern Thailand, laying waste to a mithril excavation site operated by Amjina and Sons Mithril Concern, the tribe's army marched an outpost garrisoned by Ul'dah, overwhelming the unprepared soldiers and reclaiming the land as their own. This was, however, not an isolated incident. The Kabult and Sagan tribes of Vilburn had also been granted the secrets of summoning primals, and began doing so with increased frequency. Though much of the realm cowered at the beastmen's newfound might, there were those who refused to be intimidated, and instead welcomed the opportunity for fame. It was during this tumultuous time that death or glory band of braggadocios? What the heck is that word? Yeah, he's streaming his dude playing Open Front? What the heck is Open Front? I was doing a Grass Wonder career. Ooh, nice. Yeah, so Alpha, I don't know if you saw what I was talking about in my Discord today, in my general gacha chat, but thanks to birthday luck, apparently, I actually got lucky in Uma Musume for once, and I finally got Taiki Shuttle to 4-star, finally. But also, my goodness, I have not logged in the game in like over 4 weeks, and I just gotta say, they changed almost too much. It was overwhelming. I had to watch like 4 YouTube videos on all the changes, and each video was like over 30 minutes long, and it's like they changed so much in the game, like, and it's like almost all good changes, but holy crap, they changed so much, and I have to now like retrain all my Umas, but it's still cool. Also, I started a run on the new cup. It is going to be pain, but I'm going to enjoy it. So I also want to see what lengths I can take my Taiki Shuttle to now. I'm also really curious on this new Guts update too, now that I actually figured out how the Guts changes work, and I'm just like, oh dang, it's actually like, it's still not like a needed stat for a main stat, but it's also not useless anymore, so now it's just like, man, I have to actually spend points into leveling that now. But yeah. He is trying to take over the world with sheep. That sounds like ending. I got him to admit earlier he was taking over the world with sheep. Beautiful. Beautiful. I hope that he installs, when he installs his sheep empire, he names himself, Shemperor, which is like emperor, but with, you know, sheep mixed in, so it's Shemperor. He's Shemperor Andang, and he will rule over the great what's a funny name? You know what? We'll go with the funny, the fluffy empire. Fluffendom. Yes, the empire of Fluffendom. Okay. Hear me out. The Shepherd and they running the empire of Fluffendom. Okay. And then he can ride. What was the name of the steed from that one story? That one AI story. Hold on. Wait, now I gotta go in Andig's Discord real quick. We're making live like stories here. This will have to be our next AI story, Angel. Hold on. What was the name of that? What was the name of that? Wait, can I open this in... What? Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, sheep diapers too. Yes, sheep diapers for the win. Where is the name of his steed? Also, we'll catch up on chat in a second once I find this. I will find the name that I have since forgotten. Yeah, I think you're right, Angel. I'm still trying to... Oh, Thunderfluff! Yes, okay. So, the Shemperor of Fluffendom riding his mighty steed Thunderfluff. Okay, this is absolute cinema. Wait, this needs... Okay, I need to write this down so I don't forget this. Unless, Angel, you want to do a AI story. I don't know if you have points for that, but... This is too good. This needs to be an AI story right here. Hold on. I'm writing a note. Let's see. Okay, hold on. So the Shemperor Andang. You know what? I'll write it in Discord and then I'll just copy and paste it in chat. So you could just copy and paste it. Running the great empire of Fluffendom, riding into war on his mighty steed Thunderfluff. So funny. Okay. Okay, hold on. Just for clarification. Abbreviated title. Oops. For sheep emperor. Okay, you can obviously, so I'm gonna put it in chat as I wrote it, Angel, but you can obviously word it a little bit differently if you're putting it as an AI story, so it makes more sense for the start of a story, because this doesn't make sense that much the way I worded it. But here, I'll just put it right into chat. Just like that. There we go. And yeah, you can minorly change it, but at least keep the Shepper ending Fluffendum and Thunderfluff in there, obviously. But you can reword it a little bit to make it make more sense for the start of a story. But yeah, this will be great. I can't wait to see Ending's reaction to this. Anyway, let me also catch up on what Alpha was saying. I've been doing the cup for almost a week, so if you need anything help, let me know. I got Grasswinder to A rank, but she's a long runner. Okay. Yeah, I mean the main difference in the new one, the new cup, is the team thing. You also have that new team mechanic with like what is it? Like the the thing that sounds very much Final Fantasy when you get it. Like the what is it? Like I forgot. Okay, I'll get him to do the story perfect. Let me know how it goes, Angel. I look forward to it. It'll be perfect. Like you have that new training buff that I'm suddenly forgetting all the names of everything, but in Uma Musume, but with the new update. But like, yeah, it's yeah, there's like I did like actually I was almost late to stream because I got distracted with Uma Musume, I'm not gonna lie. But like that, like there's just so much to relearn. But I'm figuring it out. It's just probably gonna take me a bit. I might depending on how Friday's stream goes with the Wuthering Waves update, I might try to stream some Uma Musume because I'm actually enjoying the game again. So but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens, but anyway. Back to reading. Oh yeah, it was during this tumultuous time that Deathgory band of Brachydios, or however you say that name, known as the Company of Heroes, made a name for itself hunting down the self-proclaimed lads who plagued Limslow Minsa. These acts of bravery, however, had little, if any, effect on the balance of power within the realm. If anything, Eorzea's adventurers found themselves trapped in a vicious cycle, slaying one primal only to see another rise just as powerful as before. It was the Circle of Knowing that first observed the environmental decay being caused by repeated summoning of primals. The ceremonies required massive amounts of ether-based crystals, crystals required for the land to maintain elemental balance. The Circle, hitherto focused on saving the realm from Garlean invaders, were quick to realize that there would be no realm to save if the beast tribes first bled the land dry of its ether. To tackle this new threat, the Archons enlisted the talents of the students of Baldessian, a fellow Charlian organization dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge, to search for clues as to how the beast tribes inherited such knowledge. After moons of poring over dusty tomes and forgotten archives, they went to the archives. Oh man, hopefully they weren't incomplete. No, I'm joking. The scholars discovered evidence connecting primal summoning to an enigmatic band of purposely shadowless entities known as the Asians. Further study would be required to determine motive and the degree to which the Asians were involved. But time was not on the realm's side. Despite a lack of evidence, the Circle approached the esteemed leaders of Eorzea's city-states and informed them of the albeit incomplete results of their research. Much to the Circle's surprise, the reports were taken anything but lightly. The city-states recognized the gravity of the situation and all agreed to act immediately on the information provided them. The Circle of Knowing had proved itself an indispensable source of knowledge, cementing itself as a centerpiece in the now realm-wide effort to neutralize the primal threat. There is more to this period of history than I expected. I'm gonna be honest. Whoa, living on a prayer. Sorry. I saw that in the next page. I was like, what? Oh, the boost for your team, it's amazing. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to learn how to do that. Like that whole like flame icon and whatnot, which the name for that just sounded so Final Fantasy. It was funny, but yeah. So I want to see how much. Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh, well, there's what I was asking about Charlene right there. Okay, so Charlene was okay. 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 Yeah. So this is whole. How many pages is this? Okay. Okay. I think we're gonna read up to this, the chronology. I can read. We're gonna read up to this page, and then we'll start next time we read with that. So we'll read these last few pages here. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. The revival of the Grand Companies. A temporary respite from Gallian hostilities appeared to be nearing its end by the year 1570, when the airship battalions of the 14th Legion moved to occupy the airspace above Balzar's Wall. Commercial flights in the area were cancelled indefinitely as civilian airships operated by high-wind skyways were fired upon without distinction. Travel and trade in the region were severely disrupted as merchants were forced to abandon the convenience of air routes for more time-consuming and dangerous land routes. Oh, hold on. How does this sound? The Shemperor, abbreviated title for Sheep Emperor Anding, running the Great Empire fluffing him, riding in the war in his mighty Seafunder of his army that are wearing sheep diapers. Okay, so I would switch. Well, I would say like story about the Shemperor Anding. Yeah, okay. Yeah, keep it the same. Keep it the same, because that works. That works. Yeah, I think that works. Yes, that works. Okay, I look forward to seeing Ending's reaction. It'll be beautiful. It will be beautiful. I also look forward to hearing that story. What am I doing? Poor Ending, man. It's gonna be great. Oh, what is going on? And oh, that's what's going on. Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, back to the reading. Travel and trade in the region were severely disrupted. Okay, I read that. This occupation of airspace, while concerning, did not appear to be a full-scale resumption of Garlemald's foray into the realm. Being a helpful sheep friend, that is my mission. That is my mission in life, to be a helpful sheep friend. That step was not taken until 2 years later, when Nail van Darnus, legatus of the 7th Imperial Legion, marched his men into Alamigo, joining Gaius van Belzar's 14th battalions, and effectively doubling the Imperial presence in the realm. Darnus's presence in the region confirmed the Eorzean leaders' fears and provided them more than enough cause to embrace the Circle of Knowing's plan to re-establish the Grand Companies. Their purpose set, the city-states moved swiftly to pass laws, granting powers to the newly formed Maelstrom of Limsel-Minsa, Immortal Flames of Ul'dah, and Order of the Twin Adder in Gridania. The city-states held august ceremonies to celebrate the rise of the Grand Companies, hoping that the revelry would rekindle the spirits of the masses, compelling them to enlist. The events sponsored by the ruling elite were majestic affairs in which the fiery-eyed battle marshals and generals would deliver passionate speeches to enraptured audiences in streets bright with the colors of the state. Full aware of their prowess in defending the realm, company officials appealed directly to adventurers, encouraging them to lend their arms to a cause most worthy, and one most profitable. Divisions specifically tailored to those skilled combatants were established by all three Grand Companies, the Maelstrom, Immortal Flames, and the Order of the Twin Adder, each vying to lure the most formidable to join their ranks. Oh my goodness, it's Ducky. Hello, Ducky. Welcome to Eorzean History, presented by yours truly, Elurin. So, actually, now that you're here, Duck, I gotta say, going back to what we've read today, I some of this stuff caught me off guard, but some of it I expected, but it's cool to know the history of, like, the 6th Astral Era. I have my copy right here. Perfect. Yeah, so what we've read today, because last time, where Ducky and I left off last time we did this, which was like 3 years ago on a subathon, we left off with the end of the 6th Umbral Era, which was the Calamity of Water right after all the magical stuff of the 5th Era. So today we've been reading on the 6th Astral Era, which I'm a little confused on where exactly the start of 1.0 was in this. because everything is kind of like at a point reading all of this where it's just like, okay, where does 1.0 start here? Like, um, yeah, no, like, because I like every time I think it's like, oh, this has got to be where 1.0 starts, and then something later it's like says something else. I'm like, wait, is this where 1.0 starts? Like, I'm a little confused, like where the starting point was for 1.0. Like, where does your character come into play in 1.0 here? I wonder. It was good to read over this kind of stuff for world building, whether it be for canon or headcanon. Yeah, definitely. Like, I will say this, like, this whole section isn't as, like, revealing to me, because it's all stuff I know from either watching 1.0 footage or obviously from stuff in the actual game recounting the events of 1.0. Such as the Battle of Silver Tier Skies, for example, being something that's been so overly recalled in the game. I was like, I knew all of that already. Let me check something because it's within the area you're in right now. Oh, see, I was wondering if like, so like all of this here happens before 1.0 then. So like the first primal summonings, the Battle of Silver Tier, the forming of the Adventurers Guild, the Circle of Knowing, and the students of Baldessian and Louis Swall coming over from Charlie, and that all happens before 1.0, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think. So, I'm guessing here. But anyway, we'll keep reading. I still don't know exactly where our character comes in, but anyway. So we read about the grain companies restarting, mostly thanks to Louis Sois. Rise of the White Raven. A sense of foreboding accompanied Nail von Darnus, which is this handsome fellow right here. When the White Raven arrived in the Western Theater with his... Wait, hold on. Am I confused? Nail is the White Raven, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay, I misunderstood the sentence. I read that correctly, though. Okay. I know the Circle of Knowing is already in Eorzea, but I'm trying to nail it down more than that. Okay, let me know, Duck. I'll keep reading in the meantime. The Legatus had been groomed for the military since childhood. His father was a decorated war hero in the battles that saw Garlemald become an empire, and was appointed to his esteemed rank shortly after the elder Van Darnus succumbed to sudden illness. Oh, really? Interesting. The young Legatus was, however, quick to make it clear he would not linger long in the shadow of his predecessor. His first order as Legatus being the public execution of his father's closest advisors. Wow, okay. This brash act provided the Legatus with a considerable amount of ill-gained notoriety. There we go. I had to say it in my head first. Within the Garlean capital, leading to rumors that Van Darnus, the younger, had contributed to his father's all-too-timely demise. However, Nail's social status and military rank essentially ensured he would never be tried in any court. Bound by fear, the 7th Legion grew into a force unparalleled on the battlefield, and under the White Raven's leadership, nations within the eastern continent of Othard fell one after another. The Legatus had amassed scores of crucial victories in the Empire's eastern campaign, enough, in fact, to draw the eye of Emperor Solus Galvus himself, who went on to publicly recognize Van Darnus as a man of exceptional talent. Nail the White Raven and the Gale we fought in Coils. Yeah. Which is also a 1.0 thing, because there is footage of Nail being an actual boss in 1.0. It's about to do. I changed it. They're going to into war to get the sheep diapers. Oh, that's beautiful, Angel. That's absolutely beautiful. Wait a minute. Is he reading it now, or is he about to read it? Hold on. This might be peak stream content. Hold on. Let me see where he is in the process. Because if I can catch him as he's about to read it, I might react to this live on stream. Okay, where we at? Hold on, hold on. This is peak stream content.
Oh.
All right, all right.
Gone.
Oh, I gotta turn in my.
Friends.
I gotta turn on my 2D here because we aren't using our model because it's being used for reading right now. Okay, you know what? Perfect. I didn't know our sub thing was up. Perfect time.
This is us now.
Definitely not reacting to your stream while I am streaming because
honestly, they deserve the win. They have played really well this game.
AI story
Put that at the northernmost spot.
Request
southernmost spot.
Was given
and hope
by Angel. Yep. Perfect. All right, this is gonna be absolute cinema, guys.
He's like, you know what, Island Boy. Elurin! Oh my gosh. Okay, Elurin.
This is gonna be.
You want the AI story? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Is that what you want?
We want the AI story ending. Give us the AI story.
It'd be crazy if we end up winning this from our island chain. Honestly, I just want to see who wins. The whole world got blown up, so you know.
All right, while I wait for ending, and the funny thing, for some reason,
we want the story.
The translation knows a guy, but
they're firing nukes on the islands up there. What the heck? That's not cool.
I want to see a source on that, Duck, because I've seen in the official Reddit people talking about how there's people that thought it was a mistranslation, but then unthought it after the localization team recently confirmed that he was a guy and that was his wife. So I don't know. I've seen a lot of mixed views on that.
Hear his reaction.
But yeah. So I don't know. Oh, look who's reacting to me reacting to him. This is beautiful. The voice delay is about to be absolutely scuffed now, and I blame Anding, so... So, now Anding is going to read the story while caressing the sheep next to his microphone very intimately, and it's going to be very, very beautiful. So, take it away, Anding. The sheep next to his microphone very intimately, and it's going to be very, very beautiful. So, take it away, Ending.
Alright, let's see what the story is. The Shimpowerer, abbreviated for the Sheep Emperor, Andang, running the great empire of Fluffingdom, riding into war on his mighty steed, Thunderfluff, with his army to get the sheep diapers. In the rolling meadows of Fluffingdom, where the clouds drifted low enough to graze, Emperor Andang, sheeperer of Woolen Realms.
Woolen Realms, absolute cinema.
His legendary charger, Thunderfluff. The steed's coat shimmered like moonlit fleece, each step sending up puffs of dandelion seeds that sparkled in the dawn. Anding's crown, a circlet of braided lamb's ear leaves. Ear leaves? Glinted as he raised a hoof-forged scepter.
This is absolute cinema.
Shaped like a shepherd's crook.
Absolute cinema.
Behind him marched the grand flock. Rams in polished tin helmets ewes with banners of dyed silk fluttering from their curls.
Oh my
and
goodness.
lambs clutching tiny slingshots loaded with acorns.
What? Yes, I remembered the
Rock.
acorns. I remembered the squirrels.
Don't bring in the
I
squirrels.
remembered the
Whatever you do,
squirrels.
do not bring in the
Let's go. Yes, I remembered the acorns.
Their bleats formed a rolling chorus that shook the clover. The enemy awaited beyond the river of milk. The
Milk?
diaperless horde of barren plains, wild goats who mocked the sanctity of woolen
Undergarments.
Diaperless horde of barren. They had stolen the sacred diapers, woven from the finest cloud fluff and
Cloud
enchanted
fluff?
to prevent midnight leaks. They had stolen the sacred diapers, woven from the finest cloud fluff and enchanted to prevent midnight leaks. Leaving Fluffingdom's nurseries in chaos.
Oh, not the nurseries.
Ending's eyes narrowed, violet as thistle blooms. For every soggy blanket, he declared, voice carrying like shepherd's whistle, we reclaim tenfold. What is my life? Thunderfluff reared, lightning crackling through his mane. The army surged forward, hooves drumming a thunderous lullaby. As they crested the
absolute
hill,
cinema.
the sheep emperor drew his weapon, the legendary shears of destiny.
Shears of Destiny. Wait, write that down. We gotta
humming
remember
with the
that.
promise of a close shave.
We gotta remember that, chat.
Shears of destiny.
Shears of Destiny. Wait, write that down. We gotta remember that.
The battle was brief but legendary. Goats scattered like dandelion fluff in a storm. The sacred diapers were recovered, still pristine, and hoisted atop a lamb's banner.
Oh my
That
gosh.
night, under a sky quilted with stars, Andang tucked the Emperor's future into cloud
Swaddling. Oh my gosh.
Fluffingdom
This needs to be
slept
saved.
soundly ever after, dry, warm, and gloriously diapered.
This absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. Standing ovation. Standing ovation. That needs to be saved. Also, Shears of Destiny.
Dang it, Elurin.
We are saving Shears of Destiny, Angel. We gotta remember that, Angel. Yep, that's gotta be used for future AI stories.
Oh my gosh. By the way, Elurin,
Shears of Destiny, Angel. We gotta remember that, Angel. Yep, that's gotta be used for future AI stories.
oh my gosh. By the way, Elurin, if you ever want to play a game together, this game's a lot of fun. The whole map's getting nuked right now.
This looks like Total War
And we're just
Warhammer
watching
if it
from
was
our little
made
islands
in
over
the
here, our little
1990s
islands that could.
for like Windows XP. This looks like Total War Warhammer if it was made in the 1990s.
No, it's way better than Warhammer, dude. Like, come on.
But can I play elves in it though?
No, it's way better than Warhammer, dude. Like, come on.
But can I play elves in it though?
You can name yourself elves and then pretend to be elves. Yeah. It's got Pangea, so you could like play with dinosaurs.
Can I kill dwarves?
Name yourself elves and then pretend to be elves. Yeah. It's got Pangea, so you could like play with dinosaurs.
Can I kill dwarves?
Yes, yeah, you can kill people that are named as dwarves. 100%.
But are they dwarves though? Like I don't wanna
Especially if
kill
misplaced.
I don't wanna kill someone named
Also,
dwarves
it's free.
and then later find out they're cat girls or something, okay? Dwarves though. Like I don't wanna kill someone named dwarves and then later find out they're cat girls or something, okay?
I mean, that's fair with Mistweaver, to be fair. Like, good point.
Alright, well, I'm going back to my stream. Take care, Ending, and enjoy spreading your great empire of Fluffingdom across the lands. Anyway, bye! Okay, back to our stream. Absolute cinema, by the way. Anyway, back to reading Encyclopedia Eorzea and catching up on chat. We'll have to find one later because it's messy. And dang it, yes. Okay, fair. Let me know, Duck. I want to know the source material on that. Okay. Okay, so where we left off. Okay, I read that. Okay, the Emperor was well past his 80th name day by the year of 1572, but old age would not dull his ambitions to unify the three great continents under Garlean rule. After amalgamating the political affairs of the occupied territories in Othard, he set his sights once again upon Alenard and her vexing icons. When the Emperor declared the annihilation of the icons as one of his administration's top priorities, Van Darnus was swift to seize upon the opportunity. He approached his liege with a proposal for ridding Eorzea of its false gods once and for all, using House Darnus's closely guarded knowledge of elegant relics to succeed where others had failed. And so the wheels of fate began to turn, leading Eorzea towards events that would eventually culminate in the Seventh Umbral Calamity. Okay, not seeing a definite answer online or in the book, but in the year of 1571-72, aka the beginning of 1.0 seems to take place around the next page. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Also, hands! Hands, yes. Also, check out my awesome van braces I got at my local Renaissance fair. They're so cool. But yes, we are doing live reading on my great Series Fauna mat. Don't question why I have that. Definitely not someone who's bought Hololive merch in the past or anything. But yes, yes, we're reading some live Final Fantasy 14 lore, and it's quite fun. Page 42 with you on page 40 right now, so you can keep that in mind. I will definitely. I might have more questions going forward too, but we shall see. Also, welcome Cybertails, who I will be collabing with tomorrow. Make sure you all follow her. Also, Duck, if you could give Twisty a shout out, I would appreciate it. Or Cybertails. But yes, I will be collabing with her tomorrow in Wuthering Waves in Final Fantasy XIV. So look forward to that. Anyway, it is widely believed Legatus Nail Van Darnus earned the epithet White Raven from the sheen of his polished plate mail. But those who served under the Mad Commander claim it came from the ominous eye to which he watched his subordinates. Despite his rank affording him a position in the relatively safe rearguard, Van Darnus preferred to join the advanced ranks, and fight at the fore with his gun halberd Bradamante? I hope I said that right. Interesting. Okay. Next page. The Meteor Project Revisited. In the 41st year of the First Emperor's rule, a decade before Nail Van Darnus arrived on the Western Front, the Garleans attempted communication with the Lesser Moon Dalamud under the guidance of the Empire's principal engineer and Grand Minister of Industry, Midas Nan Garland. Dubbed Project Meteor, the operation's single test was conducted in the Imperial stronghold of Bajta Citadel. Hey, I know where that is. Using elegant artifacts donated by House Darnus. Oh, by House Darnus. Interesting. You know the gun halberd that Hildebrand used to pierce Dalmud? Yeah, oh my goodness, you're joking. Oh my word. That's crazy. The project was proposed by Nan Garland after Emperor Solus Van Galvus had tasked the engineer with finding a solution to the icon threat. From records discovered within the artifacts, the Grand Minister was able to glean that armies of Alec had also exchanged blows with the icons, eventually conceiving a method to overcome the beings. Detailed descriptions of that method, however, were conveniently missing from the records. A piece to the puzzle presented itself when Garland's research uncovered that the Lesser Moon Dalamud was not a natural celestial body gifted by the gods, but rather an ancient satellite of Allegan manufacture. Nan Garland surmised that within the moon's metallic Narcell slumbered a great source of untapped energy, forgotten power which could transform the moon into a weapon of absolute destruction if pulled down from the skies and unleashed upon Eorzea. The moon would serve as the Empire's own meteor. See, okay. Why did they think that they could use the moon as a giant nuclear bomb when they could have, with the same logic, used it as a Death Star? Now, we know obviously it could be used as a Death Star or technically a nuclear bomb. But, hear me out, there was no creativity in the Garland scientists' thinking there. Like, come on, Nan Garland. Like, come on. Like, Death Star. Like, come on. Like a Death Star in Final Fantasy, like crazy. Like, okay, moving on. uh, The Meteor Project was soon drafted, and the tantalizing prospect of an all-powerful weapon was met with broad approval within the Imperial Court. Mere days after receiving the Emperor's blessing, Nan Garland would travel to the Garlean city of Bajda to conduct the first attempt to communicate with Delmud. The immensity of the satellite's power was indeed confirmed that day, but at a disastrous cost. Nearly 5 millennia worth of amassed energy was directed by the moon to the Citadel's makeshift transmission tower. The beam emitted by Delmud was so intense that not only the tower, but the entire city was evaporated in an instant. Efforts were made by the Imperial censors to hide the event from public scrutiny, but the vanishing of a major commercial center was too big a secret to suppress. News of the catastrophe quickly spread across Heidelin, and later became known as the Bajda incident. Oh, dang. Wait, okay. Quite a few pages further on, it says that, excuse me, 1572 has the revival of the Grand Companies, so this is all 1.0 stuff then? Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. But did the Battle of Silver Tier Skies take place in 1.0? Because that, I think, was like the first thing? I think. Yeah, because Age of Calm is about the forming of the Adventurer Guild. Battle of Silver Tier Skies is about pretty much the start of this period of history. The Circle of Knowing is Louisoix forming the Circle of Knowing and coming over to Eorzea. Primal Thread is about the very first time all the primals were summoned. Revival of the Grand Companies is obviously Revival of the Grand Companies, thanks to Louisoix, and then we get to the part currently reading. So you're saying all of this is in 1.0, Duck? Interesting. Okay. The loss of Midias van Garland, the lunar transmitter, and the entirety of the elegant records stored at the Bajda Citadel seemingly sealed the fate of the Meteor Project. The Emperor declared he had no interest in power of such an unpredictable nature and ordered that the project be dismantled immediately. Oh, dang. Nail van Darnus, however, was not yet ready to abandon his obsession with the Meteor Project, refusing to allow the efforts of House Darnus to be left for naught. After learning of his deployment to Eorzea, Van Darnus knew his wait was over and seized upon the opportunity to appeal to the Emperor regarding the merits of resurrecting the project, claiming he had discovered a means by which to successfully control Dalamud. After enduring a decade-long stalemate on the Eorzean front, the aged Emperor, impatient to solidify his legacy before his death, had once again become willing to entertain the notion of a realm-wide cleansing of the Beastmen and their icons. Thus, the second phase of the Meteor Project was commenced. So Silver Tier took place 10 years before 1.0. Oh, due to the Age of Calm being a decade long. Really? That's a decade long? Oh, so you're saying probably the Circle of Knowing is the start of 1.0 then. If I'm not mistaken. So, like, Louisoix's arrival was the start of 1.0? Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Huh. Interesting. See, now... See, that's where okay. So now that I know where 1.0 starts, that really adds some like back lore to where you can figure out the backstory of your character then, because then now you know the timetable. Huh. See, now my role playing brain is kicking in. Hmm. Okay, I'm not gonna do that now. Write it in, Elurin. Okay. Uh. Okay. All right. Let's read this. Dalamud had long had a place in Eorzean mythos before its fall. The Lesser Moon was widely believed to be the loyal hound of the goddess Bethid. Yes, which we know what happened with that in the Endwalker Alliance raids, and as such appeared in many religious works of art. Needless to say, discovery of the moon's true origin forced many of the realm's more devout citizens to question their faith. Oh, dang. Because the Ul'dah star has Thangred already there in the city as an agent for the Circle? Oh. Yeah, because in 1.0, the signs of the Seventh Dawn aren't even formed yet, right? Because that happens after. Is that mentioned in here? Okay, I'm skipping ahead. Hold on. Solus Galvus made a name for himself as a decorated legatus in the Garlean Republic, gaining popularity by proposing the integration of Magitech, previously only used in industry, into Garlemald's army and using it to subjugate Ilzabard's northern provinces. He had seen but 33 summers when he overthrew the Republic's ruling party and crowned himself emperor in a bid to institute a imperial regime. His reign would continue for more than 50 years until his death in the first year of the 7th Umbral Era. Okay, question. Knowing what I know about Shadowbringers, is this Emmett Selk? Or am I confused? Yep, it's still the Circle of Knowing, and the Circle does become the science until Mephile takes over from Louis. Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. A three-side struggle. With the second phase of the Meteor project underway, Nelva and Darnus proceed to stockpile the energy that would eventually be required to facilitate Dalamud's fall. The Legatus asserted that for Meteor to succeed, the Empire would need to acquire both massive quantities of crystals as well as secure areas found to exhibit high concentrations of ether. As the Lesser Moon turned deep crimson, the 7th Imperial Legion deployed Magitech-equipped squadrons throughout Eorzea to harvest crystal nodes, while others were tasked with seizing the Black Shroud's Togo Rock and the Demzel Darkhold in Corthus. The Imperial garrison also worked to excavate the remnants of elegant technology left behind in Eorzea, actively seeking any records which could prove useful to Nail's engineers. Ah. So that was him. Okay, good to know, Doug. Good to know. Now I'm just imagining Emmett Selk with that glorious white beard. It's quite the thought in my head. The Grand Company though wholly unaware of the 7th Imperial Legion's motives for this most recent incursion, sounded the alarms. Adventurers comprising the company's ranks were dispatched to the Black Shroud in Corthus and were successful in not only halting the Imperial operations, but reclaiming the occupied outposts, which I think that's adventurers from 1.0, if I'm not mistaken. This handful of victories bolstered confidence in the Grand Company's ability to thwart the Imperial forces, providing light for a realm which found themselves plunged into darkness. Yet the Empire was not the only enemy to which Eorzea had to contend. Recognizing an increase in the primal activity that appeared to coincide directly with the Empire's invasion, the Archon Louisoix made the long journey to Eorzea with the intention of convincing the Grand Companies that if they sought victory, the Beast Tribes were not to be ignored. The Circle of Knowing proffered a solution. Use the adventurers to launch a two-tiered offensive. This plan, however, was not without its complications. Nail von Darnus himself appeared before adventurers sent to slay Ifrit, drawing forth his halberd to slice open a vein of ether in the Primal's cloister and force an untimely retreat. If I remember correctly, I think that actually is a cutscene in 1.0. Because that sounds like something I seem to have seen when I was looking at old footage of 1.0 on YouTube. Um, Interesting. Also, yes, Assy and Santa. Yeah, that's quite the image. Um, uh, Soon after, the Mughals from the Black Shroud summoned a manifestation of a fabled murderous regent. Wait, what? The Mughals of the Black Shroud summoned a manifestation of a fabled murderous regent. Please, wait, is that King Mughal or am I confused? What? A fabled murderous regent? Who the hell is that? While the Ixali called upon the mad Garuda. Who did the Mughals summon? So we have Ifrit and Garuda, but Titan isn't here yet, and instead the Mughals summoned something. What did the Mughals summon? It is good King Mughal? Oh no. Oh no. The Circle of Knowing scrambled together intelligence on these primals and the tribes which had heretofore been unable or unwilling to summon them. Under the Archon's guidance, the adventurers were successful in their endeavors to temporarily quell the beastman's wrath, yet it became clear these were hollow victories when it was discovered that the flood of ether which flowed from the primals upon their demise did not return to the land. It was instead being absorbed into Dalamud. The realm, it appeared, would not be stopped from sinking ever deeper into chaos. Also, with the picture here, in days following his death, Nail Van Darnus was completely consumed by his obsession with Dalamud. His manner became increasingly erratic, and he spoke toxically of sacrificing his body and soul to the Red Moon. Some post-calamity discourses argue it is highly likely that his sanity was being compromised by the influence of the primal, which we know to be true because of Coils of Bahamut. Yes. All right. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun part to read. Infiltration of Castrum Novium. While the Grand Companies were preoccupied with the primal menace, the 7th and 14th Legions were nearing completion of Castrum Novum, a formidable outpost in the corner of Mordona. The Castrum would play a crucial role in Nailva Darnus's Eorzean campaign, housing within its walls a replicated lunar transmitter. Little time passed before Castrum Novum caught the attention of the master engineer Sid von Garland. Hey, first mention of Sid in the entire book. Let's go. Founder of Garland Ironworks and refugee from Garlemald, whose vast knowledge of Magitech weaponry had proven invaluable to the Eorzean leaders. Garland had learned from intercepted documents that some manner of transmission apparatus was being erected in the fortress, and knew all too well what the Garleans were plotting, for he was the son of none other than Midius, leader of the first phase of the Meteor Project, who perished in that fateful experiment at the Bajda Citadel. Conducting further investigation, Garland was alarmed to discover that the lunar transmitter was already operational, slowly but inexorably pulling Dalamud towards the atmosphere on a collision course with the planet. He appealed to the Grand Companies for emergency assistance, and the three leaders of the city-states spared no time in reforming the Eorzean Alliance, which had existed in name alone for so long, pooling their military resources for a joint operation. The mission to destroy the lunar transmitter was an ambitious one. A handful of platoons from the Grand Companies would lay siege to the Castrum's front gates as a diversion, while a party of formidable adventurers would infiltrate from behind, dispatching Imperial patrols before entering the inner chamber to destroy the Ceruleum generators, fueling the transmitter and render it useless. Morale was high in what was considered a pivotal moment in the Eorzean Alliance's stand against the Empire, and the operation was a rousing success. The band of adventurers engaged both man and magitech within Castrum Novum's walls, and by their hand the lunar transmitter went up in flames. Oh, dang. It was during the Alliance's attack on the lunar transmitter that the Imperial Legion first deployed the unmanned magitech units known as Vanguards. Oh. In addition to being utilized in offensive maneuvers against the Eorzean Alliance, the vanguards were also placed in defensive positions along the walls of Castrum Novum. Oh, interesting. Which you can see art of one right here. To kill a raven. The adventurers had accomplished their objective in deactivating the lunar transmitter. However, they were afforded scarce time to celebrate their triumph as Nail Van Darnus greeted the squadron in the inner chamber. He delivered what the histories could describe as a convoluted tirade at the Eorzean Alliance's brazen attempts to foil his plans. Before vanishing from the castrum, Darnus delivered a final message to the adventurers that was alarmingly clear. The lunar transmitter was no longer needed to bring about Dalamud's fall. Astrological observations thereafter would confirm the Legatus' words. Despite the dismantling of the apparatus, the Lesser Moon continued its descent. And I do think that is in 1.0. Reconnaissance was immediately dispatched to ascertain Van Darnus' whereabouts, and it was soon revealed he had fled in the general direction of Kurthus. A council meeting of the Eorzean Alliance was convened as some surmised that the Legatus had anticipated the storming of Castrum Novum and was already possessed of knowledge that would ensure the Red Moon's plunge to the surface. Uriage, hey, I know that guy, of the Circle of Knowing, I'm not going to try to say his last name, contributed his own research linking the Lesser Moon to ancient Alec. The Archon's report also spoke of scores of Allegan ruins in the Fields of Glory, and the leaders of the Alliance had little doubts that the Legatus had set course for the Eastern Lowlands. 3 reconnaissance units, one from each of the respective Grand Companies, were tasked with surveying the lowlands for signs of Van Darnus, but none survived a barrage of enormous pieces of meteoric fragments that rained down from the Lesser Moon. Observers in the area soon discovered that the trajectory of the rocks upon their comrades' positions were no natural phenomena, but a deliberate assault. In their report to the Alliance, they spoke of how they witnessed a chain of crags floating above the land, the most central of which was emanating a single beam of light into the heavens toward Dalmud in the selfsame wise that the lunar transmitter had at Castrum Novum. These were the Allegan ruins from the Archon's report. Oh, interesting. So it was that the Council of the Eorzean Alliance arrived at the conclusion that, for the sake of the realm's survival, Nail Van Darnus must be stopped by any means necessary. A small group of adventurers rose to the task, and Sid Van Garland offered them passage to Riven Road, the center of the floating islands, aboard his airship, the Enterprise. Huh. It was there that the adventurers would clash with the mechanical Legatus in a battle to the death. For all the White Raven's power and might, it would be his last stand as the adventurers dealt the final blow. Upon his death, the squadron escaped from Kurthus as the island... Upon his death, the squadron escaped from Kurthus as the isles crumbled, spewing debris across the land. Garland's airship set course for Gridania, and the adventurers were greeted as heroes. When the council heard the news, Van Darnus was no more. The realm was saved. This jubilation, too, however, would prove short-lived. The same islands that the first turn of the second coils are located. Really? Huh. Is that where you fight, Nail Van Darnus? Or am I confused on what coil that is? No. They're the floating isles where you fight like the giant plant monster, right? And you have to fight all those rock monsters to get to the plant monster. Oh, okay. Okay, Duck. Okay, I think I know what islands you're talking about. Okay, interesting. Harboring considerable misgivings about Garlemald's military approach to expansion, Sid Van Garland, master engineer and former Garlean Ministry of Industry, and a number of his researchers defected, seeking asylum in Eorzea. The modern lightweight Enterprise was designed and constructed by Garland immediately following his arrival in Eorzea, which there it is, right here. Yeah, let me get a good view there. There you go. There's the ship. The giant plant on the island. Yes, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Desperation. It was the Circle of Knowing who bore the dismal tidings. While the Allegan ruins had been destroyed in the battle with Nail von Darnus, the Red Moon remained unwavering in its collision course toward the planet. The headquarters of the grand companies were in pandemonium upon hearing the news. And not the pandemonium that we know from later in the game. Anyway, until Archon Louisoix offered an unorthodox, if not desperate, proposal to save the realm from destruction. Solemn prayer. The sage proposed that by invoking the 12 deities of the Eorzean pantheon, the realm might beseech the higher powers to repel Dalamud back into the heavens and seal away the Allegan relic's power. Needless to say, this notion was met with some criticism. Some pointed out calling upon the 12 in such a manner would make them no different than the savage beastmen who unleashed their primals upon the land. Others questioned whether summoning the 12 would not render all of Eorzea's people mindless thralls to their influence, as was seen with the beastmen's gods. Archon Louisoix assured his compeers that his proposed invocation was not akin to a primal summoning. On the contrary, he would search for a way to entreat the 12 to merely lend their divine power to save the realm. Which is funny, because it still created a primal, but anyway. The leaders of the Eorzean Alliance accepted the gamble that Archon Louisoix set before them, yet none would deny an underlying feeling of despair, for history had proven time and again that all eras of prosperity must eventually give way to calamity and chaos. And then this is one of the stones, which I know where that is in the game, used to invoke the powers of the 12 on the eve of the calamity. It said that in the moments before Bahamut unleashed his fury upon the room, 12 like stones were enveloped in a pillar of brilliant white light, which is totally not in the cutscene somewhere that you can go watch. And back to the song. Oh, living on a prayer. Gosh dang it. Ah, yes, exactly, Duck. As the Circle of Knowing completed preparations for the summoning, they beseeched adventurers to serve at its guiding light. These adventurers embarked upon a pilgrimage to kneel before the marks of the 12 and summon the power of the gods. The grand companies did their part in leading the residents of the city-states in fervent prayer to their patron gods as well. In this time of impending darkness, it was said that the entire realm gathered to entreat the heavens with one voice, and that Eorzea united by the litanies of its people. As adventurers and small folk alike proceeded according to Archon Louisoix's plan, the Garlean Empire stirred. The Eorzean Alliance received word that the remnants of the now leaderless 7th Legion were amassing on the plains of Cartano, where Dalamud was expected to make landfall. The information had come from most unlikely of sources: Gaius van Belzar, legatus of the 14th Imperial Legion, who appeared himself before an adventurer making his pilgrimage. The legatus relayed to the adventurer that the men of the 7th had become as fanatical as their commander had before them. They refused to accept Nail von Darnus' death and marched toward the plains at what they claimed was the behest of a man who no longer lived. As Van Darnus told it, the 7th intended to secure the area around Cartano to ensure that none could forestall Dalamud's impact, and that they were ready to defend the plan with their lives. I wonder if they were enthralled, Duck. Oh, snap, look who came in with a raid. Welcome, everyone, to the stream. I hope that you all enjoyed Anding's great spreading of fluffendom across the realm through his great empire that he is now building. Most likely, yes. Oh, okay, Ducky. Good to know. But yes, as you all know, Anding now will, with his great shears of destiny and his great steed Thunderfluff, continue to spread fluffendom across the realm as the shepherd that he is, and it will be beautiful. Yes, so very much looking forward to future AI stories. Yeah, so anyway, back to reading. Thank you for the shout out, by the way, Ducky. Okay. Let's see. With Van Balzar's confession, the Eorzean Alliance faced a new crisis. To complete the summoning ritual that Louisoix envisioned, the final invocation would need to be made directly beneath the Lesser Moon. It now became clear that the limited resources of the Grand Companies would first have to contend with the 7th Legion, conquerors of the eastern continent and the Empire's elite. The stage was set and the players took their positions. Cartano would bear witness to a decisive battle for the fate of Eorzea. The hopes and dreams of its people pitted against the ruinous desires of an army steeped in madness beneath the encroaching red moon. And then there's Gaius. Gaius von Drezar sought to conquer Eorzea and bring its nations under the imperial yoke. It was for this reason that he bitterly opposed the Meteor Project as proposed by his fellow legatus, Gnaeus von Darnus, who would rather see the entirety of the realm burn. The difference between conquering and destruction. Also, the art on this page. Woo! So good. The Battle of Cartano. This is the fun part. The city-states of the Eorzean Alliance steeled themselves for their final engagement. The defense of Ul'dah was left in the hands of the Brass Blades and the Sultansworn as the immortal flames departed for Cartano from the gates of Thrall, east of the city. Passing through this gate was a time-honored tradition for Ul'dah's armies, for it was said that the Keeper of the Dead would grant death once to those who departed from his egress, thus allowing them to avoid a second death on the battlefield. Meanwhile, in Limsel Minsa, the ink was barely dry on the Gadian Accord when the Maelstrom enlisted the help of powerful pirate factions in securing the plains under the Scarlet Standard. Notorious pirate bands such as the Bloody Executioners, the Kraken's Arms, and the Sanguine Sirens became free companies invested with full martial authority. The Twin Adders of Gridania departed the Black Shroud with Elder Seed Seer Kanisana, flanked by Woodwellers and the Marksmen of the God's Quiver, with a nominal contingent remaining behind to guard the city. Marching with the Grand Company's ranks were scores of adventurers wielding mighty weapons that they had won on their journeys, which is definitely a reference to 1.0 characters. The armies of the Eorzean Alliance assembled in northern Thanalan, proceeding as one north to Mordona before pushing into the plains from the west. The remnants of the 7th Legion placed themselves in formation on the eastern edge of the plains, while the detachment from Castrum Sentry would assault the Grand Companies from the rear. The commanders of the Eorzean Alliance countered the offensive by dispatching adventurers to keep the Castrum Sentry cohorts at bay, while their front lines advanced to the Imperial host. Oh, interesting. I wonder if that was like the final mission of 1.0 then. Both sides had made their first move, and the Battle of Cartano had begun. As the main infantry of the Eorzean Alliance spread out to meet the Imperial forces head-on, Archon Louis Sois soon arrived and commenced his summoning of the 12 from a promontory overlooking the battlefield. Here he would endeavor to focus their divine powers on Dalamud. The vanguards of both armies clashed as the tide of battle ebbed and flowed in favor of the Alliance, then the Imperials, and back again. The Garleans, however, would soon would completely overturn the odds when they deployed the next phase of their strategy. 10 score Magitech Knights, each aboard their own Reaper-class Magitech battle armor. The offensive prowess of these newly developed war machines was so overwhelming, and the Alliance's tentative hold on the front line began to falter. For the Eorzean Alliance, this was the first large-scale operation to combine the efforts of so many different forces. Commanders struggled to properly coordinate the movements of each unit. Ad hoc members of the Grand Companies, such as the pirate factions of Limsel and Minsa, and the Alamegans serving among the Immortal Flames, employed tactics that differed from and often conflicted with one another. In that sense, it would be said that the vast army which faced off against the 7th Legion in Cartano was little more than a haphazard assemblage of units charging aimlessly forward with but a common purpose to bind them. The confusion increased tenfold when the Magitech Knights and the Reapers descended upon the Eorzean factions. Whatever orders had been handing down, meaningless now as every man fought for himself. The Alliance's numbers far exceeded that of the dwindled Imperial Legion, yet the lack of a cohesive strategy meant the full power of their forces was never brought to bear. The Garleans, while fewer in number, had at their disposal an array of advanced tech and years of conditioning under a strict military regimen. Once the Reapers had been deployed, the 7th swiftly gained the upper hand. Man, this makes that whole cutscene just totally different from a different perspective. From like the perspective of strategy. That's crazy. At this chaotic juncture, the adventurers proved the Alliance's salvation. those who were sent to dispatch the Legion's diversionary force at the Castrum Century made their belated debut and quickly joined the fray. They were no strangers to the maneuverings and magitech weaponry, and reinvigorated the Eorzean side by forcefully advancing upon the Legion's Reapers. Through the adventurers' effort, the Imperials were pushed back, allowing the Eorzean alliance to claw its way forward once more. No, my understanding, there is no player interaction to battle for Carno. It was only a cutscene they saw before the server shut down for 1.0. There is a legendary battle at the Gates of Ul'dah, where the GMs spam the most powerful monsters in the game, though. So that isn't mentioned, but it happened. Really? Huh. Interesting. That's kind of cool. Huh. Oh, that's cool, though, that at least in the lore they gave the adventurers more stuff to do in, like, the intermediate. So that's kind of cool. So you can imagine, like, if you're a 1.0 character, what your character was doing. Yeah, I definitely might look that up, Dougie. That sounds interesting. A group of adventurers assembles in Mordona after answering a call to arms from the Eorzean Alliance. They would engage the Imperial Legion marching from Castrum Century in the vicinity of Silvertear Falls. Interesting. And now, yep, the final part of what we're going to read today. The Elder Primal Bahamut, Bahammer himself. None on that battlefield were prepared for that which brought the hostilities to an end. Upon quitting the firmament and entering the skies above Cartano, the red moon cracked, and from within the iron sphere emerged an ancient primal, the likes of which Eorzea had never seen. According to post-calamity research by the Archons of the Circle of Knowing, the primal that the Alligans enslaved within Dalamud was none other than the dread worm Bahamut, last summoned some 5 millennia prior by a horde of dragons on the southern continent of Mercidia, when their motherland was invaded by the Alligan Empire. The vessel broke and Bahamut, released from its shackles, the colossal worm took wing to inflict his millennia of rage upon the realm. The elder primal tore away from Cartano and rained fiery hell upon the land. In the end, there was truth in Nail Van Darnas's incoherent rambling addressed to the moon. The legatus was aware of the monstrosity housed within Dalamud and was heeding Bahamut's pleas to be free from his prison. Oof. Both the molten shards that rained down from Dalamud and the searing flames which spewed forth from the dreadworm's maw were indiscriminate in their path, and war became an afterthought as friend and foe alike fled the battlefield in terror. As men of both armies ran for their lives, Louis Sois-Levier kept silent vigil over Cartano, unwavering in his efforts to summon forth the power of the 12. Though Louis Sois may have failed in his attempt to repel Dalamud back to the heavens, he would not allow Eorzea to bear the brunt of Bahamut's rampage, toiling upon borrowed time to seal the Elder Primal away before he could raise the realm no more, wielding the legendary staff. Oh, I forgot how to say it. I know it's said in the actual game, and I'm forgetting how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say Tupsamati, but I'm probably butchering that badly. I know it's said in the game, I just can't remember. He drew from the great reservoirs of ether flowing forth from the land, channeling its strength together with the overwhelming prayers of the people. The power of the 12 manifested itself in complex runes in the sky in the most powerful sealing enchantment attempted in Eorzean history. The stone marks of the deities that were being nourished by the prayers of the Circle of Knowing were engulfed in pillars of light, becoming glowing spears that pierced the dreadworm, binding him in place as the runes confined him into a new prison. The plains of Cartano were bathed in the light of the 12, and it appeared that the ritual was complete. Despite the fact that all eyes were fixated upon the summoning of the 12, there appeared to be no witnesses who can recall with certainty what happened after the Elder Primal was enveloped in the god's light. It said that Archon Louis' powerful spell combined with the vast emanations of ether had warped the memories of all who survived, an effect which lingered long after the calamity. What is known for certain is that by the time the light of the 12 had dissipated, Bahamut was no more. At the same token, the faces of Eorzea's heroes, the adventurers by whose deeds Archon Louis' incantation came to pass, were lost to history. So it was that Eorzea plunged into the 7th Umbral Era. Ah. So no one saw him break out of the prison. That's interesting that that is the spot where everyone lost their memories. So I'm guessing that's also the exact same time that Louis Swaby started becoming a primal? Maybe? I don't know. Okay, here's Dalmud looms in the sky above Cartno. Bathed in the plains in eerie red gold, said that this ominous illumination, together with the chaos and confusion of war, led many to believe that the battle was being fought in the 7th Hell itself. Oh, man. And then Bahamut here at the bottom. Several golden shackling mechanisms known as neurolinks were bolted onto the corporeal flesh of the Elder Primal Bahamut. Information gleaned from research of historical artifacts suggests they are but one of many devices fashioned by ancient Alec to subjugate and imprison beings of considerable power. Interesting. Aftermath. After Bahamut broke free from its fetters, the fields of Cartno descended into chaos. The commanders of the Eorzean Alliance ordered a full withdrawal to save as many lives as they could from the indiscriminate fury of the Primal. Military records state that General Roban of the Immortal Flames was hesitant to order a retreat after the adventurers had regained the line. But he yielded at the insistence of his compeer, Connie Senna of the Twin Adders. As their link pearls had fallen silent due to the massive ethereal disturbances attributed to Bahamut, the commanders were forced to deliver their orders by officers on foot. Maelstrom Command often claims that Admiral Merweb Blaze... Oh. Again, gonna butcher her name, Blaze Wolven, rode down to the battlefield herself on her beloved Chocobo steed Victory to halt the pirate bands who bravely fought on even after the Primal emerged. Really? No freaking way. Wow. Okay. Dang. Okay. More respect for the Admiral there. Dang. Okay. Cool. Dang. Gained the bonus points were gained with the Admiral of Limsalo Mensa after reading that. Yet there is no victory to be had at the Battle of Cartno. The Eorzean Alliance formally withdrew their companies from the plains and had remnants of the 7th Imperial Legion, warriors known for their brute conquests the realm over, scared and fled into all directions. After the retreat, the troops of the Eorzean Alliance scaled back to northern Thanalan. It was there that the Immortal Flames established a camp, swiftly tending to the wounded and tallying the survivors among the ranks. The Maelstrom suffered a blow during the withdrawal when Admiral Melweb sustained a great wound that saw her removed from the battlefield. Serving in her stead, Grand Storm Marshal... What the heck? How do you even say that? Einzar? Slaversflin? I'm not even gonna try, man. Gave the order that the Maelstrom fall back to Limsal Mensa. The Twin Adders, however, would not return to the Shroud for some time, as Connie Senna volunteered her troops to form search parties and return to Corythus, providing assistance to friend and foe alike who lay wounded but breathing on those hellish plains. The compassion of the Elder Seedseer, herself an accomplished healer, would save no small amount of men from their fates. Yes, White Mage, go burr. Countless splinterings of Dalmud rained down the battlefield at Carno, composed of not only the moon's outer shell, but fragments of the inner modules which had confined the Elder Primal. Shards of Dalmud pierced the earth, producing a great fountain of ether that crystallized within moments. The amber-colored corrupted crystals now seen throughout the realm. These glowing talons remain a vivid reminder of the devastation wrought by the calamity. Then at the end, the most remarkable rebirth. It was not only on the battlefield of Cartno that innumerable lives were lost to the calamity. Many casualties are ascribed to the shattered Dalmud's flying fragments, which rained down upon the land from the peaks of Corythus to the deserts of Thanalan. No small number of civilians in Limsa perished in a tidal wave that engulfed the coastline, caused by a giant fragment of the fallen moon's outer shell plummeted into the nearby sea. So many more perished to the raging firestorms that burst forth from the flaring ball of etheric energy unleashed by Bahamut. Just when all hope seemed lost amidst the chaos and destruction, the land came alive and showed signs of an implacable rebirth. The survivors of the calamity believe that Archon Louis' invocation of the Twelve's power was the driving force which vanquished Bahamut, and could not be described as anything other than a miracle of the gods. Both speculation and rumor about the invocation would abound, with many speaking of a curious phenomenon in the sky above Cartano, the brilliant light in the shape of a phoenix. Archon Louis' body was never recovered, though fragments of his legendary staff were discovered among the debris in Cartano by a Twin Adder search party. The devastation at the center of Bahamut's rage was absolute, making the details of what truly occurred on that fateful night subject to vigorous debate among scholars for generations to come. Okay. And with that, I think we have now recapped all the history of Eorzea leading up to the events of modern day Final Fantasy XIV, not to be confused with original 1.0. But yeah, so next time we will go in detail on the insane amount of pages for the actual history and series of events of Eorzea. And then time depending, we may or may not start the next one, but yeah, we'll see. And then we have, obviously, the events of current game, which we'll go from there. Cool. Okay. So on that note, I think that's where we are going to end our very first Ranger readings today. Oh, okay, yeah, there are some seriously interesting videos of Ul'dah under attack. Apparently there were dozens of nails in Ul'dah at one point, so that's something, but I found what I wanted. The Great Wall of Gubu. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Also, Duck, I don't know if you heard me, but man, reading this section right here has given me so much more respect for both Connie Sana and the Admiral of Limsa, because, man, hearing what they both did is at like during and after the battle is like crazy. Like, I always thought Roban was the most badass of the three, but after hearing what they both did, man, like crazy. Absolutely crazy. Because, like, just hearing that the Admiral rode her chocobo into the battlefield to save all the different pirate bands that were scattered everywhere, while in the middle of Bahamut nuking everything and Louis while fighting him, is just freaking badass. I also didn't know she was almost mortally wounded from that, too. That's insane. Oh, absolutely, Ducky, absolutely. And also hearing that the Twin Adders, where everyone else was fleeing after the aftermath, Connie Sana just was like, no, we're going back. And she went back with contingent and spent like, what was it? Like, yeah, like multiple days and nights just going along the fields, fighting friend and foe alike from the Empire and non-Empire, and just healing them with their white mages. I was like, dang, that's just pretty cool too. So it's like, man, now I'm just like, I have so much more respect for Connie Sana and Admiral, however you say her name, after reading that. It's crazy. But yeah, anyway, Final Fantasy lore is good. Very good. Very, very good. So on that note, everyone, we're going to be ending stream here. I'm excited to do our next Ranger reading, which will be 2 Wednesdays from now, where we will be reading more Encyclopedia Eorzea. Really excited about that. So make sure you tune in 2 Wednesdays from now, same time, same place, same channel, for more of reading Encyclopedia Eorzea. I'm excited. But yeah, for now, stand by as I am going to get a raid ready on somebody. Oh, as I say, Flames are Bond's badass. The Admiral is more so. Yeah, no, the Admiral, like, I never expected to read that. Which, I mean, to be fair, Connie Sana having such bravery to, like, as, like, literally everybody in Eorzea was just, like, running for their lives from that destruction. And she's like, no, we're going back, and we're gonna see if we can heal people, and whether they're good or bad guy, we're just gonna heal them and save as many lives as we can. I'm just like, dang, that's brave in its own way too, so. Okay. Okay, sounds good, Duck. Alright, well, stand by, everybody. We're gonna find someone to raid, so stand by!